All right, we'll go ahead and get started with our winning team press conference from the Pure Michigan 400 here at Michigan International Speedway. We've got quite a crowd up here today. We first want to start with Joey Logana and congratulate you on your win today here. Driver of the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford. 13th in points, 17 points outside the top 10, and one win. Just talk a little bit about the last few laps, the race today, and your thoughts on the chase.
Yeah, we're close, and this is a hard-fought win throughout this whole Penske team. This 22 team in particular have gone through a lot this season, and this, like I said, well-deserved. And Todd Gordon, all the guys gave me a great Shell Pennzoil Ford today that was capable of winning, and they kept tuning in, getting a little better, and keeping me up front with the right strategy. And then when it was up to me there in that last restart, I had to be very aggressive to get by to 29 and do what I had to do. And then here we are. So what a great place to win and a great time to win, being in Ford's backyard and coming up to the chase like this and being in Rogers' backyard. It's just a great opportunity for me, and I'm glad to make the most of it.
Also joining us is crew chief Todd Gordon. Obviously, this is Joey's third victory. This is his second win from the pole. Talk a little bit about the strategy there and what the strategy you used in today's win.
I think the biggest part, it started on Friday, so race team did a fabulous job. Joey did an awesome job all weekend, but the qualifying on the pole on Friday got us that good pit stall, allowed us to make some different calls in the pits and maintain track position. Clean air plays a lot of big deals here, so Joey drove his butt off there. Once we got to the last stop and did some awesome things on the racetrack, but really proud of this whole race team.
Team owner Roger Penske, obviously Michigan holds a very special place in your heart. Talk a little bit about what this win means to you today.
Well, I think as I go back, probably 30 years here at the track, this was probably one of the biggest wins. Obviously. With Joey coming on board, his first win with the Shell Pennzoil car, and our relationship now with Ford. I say it's my home state, it's my home track, and Detroit's my city, so you couldn't put it all together like we did today. And have Joey come on board with Brad, it's a real team effort, and Todd and Paul Worf working together. And even Brad said today he thought Joey had a little better car, and he's going to put a couple of his setups on, so they're working together. This is clearly a team effort, and all those guys back at the shop. And I want to thank Jamie Allison and Raj here for the support that Ford's giving us. We've been kind of lacking delivering what we said we'd deliver when they signed us up. So it makes me feel pretty good. At least we can shake their hand today in victory lane.
Jamie Allison, director of Ford Racing, talk a little bit about being the first winner of the inaugural Michigan Heritage Manufacturers Trophy.
First, I'd like to congratulate Joey and the entire team from Penske Racing. Just a phenomenal accomplishment, phenomenal race. Just a great restart on that last part. You don't get in front of
Ford power, man.
There you go. Just a phenomenal job, obviously. It is a team sport. There's a lot of team support along the way. But at the end of the day, when it comes on race day on Sunday, the driver's got to go out there and just wheel it and win it. And that's what you did. Congratulations. Obviously, we're very honored to receive the first and inaugural Manufacturers Trophy. It is special. Every win is special, but to win it here in front of our employees, in front of our fans, with our team, just makes it even more important. And with me here is our Vice President of Product Development, Raj Nair, without whose support we at Ford can't provide all the tools and the technical support that our teams need to excel on the track.
Raj, would you like to say a few words?
Well, it's always great to win at home. So I really want to thank Joey, and we have such great partners with Roger and Penske Racing and Roush Yates, and winning at a home in a Ford Fusion is our dream. So thanks to the great partners we got and winning in front of our fans and employees.
Thank you.
All right, we'll open up for questions. We've got quite a winning team up here. We'll start right here in the middle with Mike, then go to the back with Stan.
Mike Hember, USA Today. Joey, a lot of numbers still can be jumbled, but how does today change the next 3 weeks for you? How you might approach the next three?
I think we got to be consistent. This is something Todd and I talk about before we come to the racetrack every weekend on how we're going to approach the weekend and how aggressive we need to be to try to get into this chase. And we kind of decided we needed to win a couple weeks ago, and so we did one. So we got one. So that's what we had to do. So we should decide to get more wins. Maybe we'll win more. But, we're trying to figure out how aggressive we need to be. And I'm sure that's a conversation we'll have throughout this week. But I think right now, as long as we're consistent and keep knocking off top tens like this team's been doing, if we get another win, yeah, it's going to really help us get in the chase. But it's definitely a great help for our chase hopes. And I also want to say to Lisa and Paul and Heidi, she's not here today, but I met them a year ago to talk about getting into this car. And it's just kind of ironic that, a year later, here we are in victory lane and getting a pole. So thank you, guys. Thanks for taking a chance with me.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Stan, then go Jeff, Bob, and George.
Stan Creekmore with RPMtonight.com, all the way here in the back, if you will. Question is actually for Todd. Todd, when Joey was in here Friday, he talked about how different qualifying and racing was going to be. I know you can't be entirely specific, but how much did you change the car from Friday until today to ensure that you would have what turned out to be as marvelous a run in 400 miles that you got, in just a lap around this track?
We definitely had two different packages, a qualifying package and a race package. And fortunately for us, with the way Friday practice rolled out, we started out in race practice with the race package and had good speed. So, there's definitely different parts to it. It's this Gen 6 car. It's kind of created a little more separation there. So you've got to definitely develop two different packages. One that goes fast for qualifying and one that races really well. And I think Joey did a great job with him today.
Okay, we'll come back up front. We'll take one from Jeff, then Bob.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Joey, it's not only been an up and down season in the points for you, but the way you started off in March with the whole Hamlin thing and being viewed as somebody, like a villain, to have
really look like a villain, don't I?
to have gone through that in addition to climbing up in the points and falling down, climbing up again. Has that made you more battle tested, do you think, for this stretch run coming up that's going to be obviously very pressure packed?
That doesn't toughen you up. Nothing does. Like I said, this team's gone through a lot this season, and that's what I meant by some of it. And obviously, there's other things that we've gone through, and they don't quit. They keep pushing hard, and that's what we got to keep doing. And we got to do that for years to come, not just the rest of this season or the next 4 races. We got to keep doing that as long as we're all together, and hopefully, that's a very, very, very long time. And if we keep doing this, we will be.
Okay, go ahead with your question, Bob.
Bob Hawkers, Morning News. Roger and Joey was thanking the Shell people for taking a chance on him. Did you feel like you were taking a chance on him when you hired him? And Joey, does this win kind of solidify any questions or back anything up, and the fact that you have this right?
Bob, I think, as we look, at drivers, and, we do this in conjunction with our sponsors. And, obviously, we had a little rough time, with the first 2 drivers we had in the Shell Pennzoil car. And, I said to Lisa Davis and the team that I wanted to make the right choice here. And I think that, as Joey said, it was a year ago that he had a chance to meet with the Shell people in Pennzoil. And I think that we said Young had been a winner, was focused, and he wanted to race. And I think those are the things that, made the difference for us. And I can tell you that Brad was a key part of that. Because I can see that these 2 guys are working together, and it makes a huge difference because they play off each other. They're pushing each other. And to me, that's key because you got to have that chemistry within the team. You're going to win the same thing with Paul and Todd. Paul got a lot of notoriety last year. Todd was there listening, watching, and today these guys are working hand in glove. So to me, it was the right move. And, we're investing for the future. And I got 2 young drivers, we'll match them with anybody today. And I think we're looking long term, as Joey said. This is not about one race here in Michigan. It's about the future.
Yeah, to answer your question, Bob, it was a no-brainer for me. This is all you gotta do is walk through the shop once and meet Ryder and meet a lot of the guys that work there. And and meeting with all the Shell and Penzo folks. I mean, it's a no-brainer for me. It was an amazing opportunity as a driver to have a fresh start with working with my idol, Roger Penske. He's an amazing person, and he impresses me every day how he does so much and does such a great job at it. And to be working for a guy like that, like I said, it was a very, very, very easy decision for me.
As far as maybe asking maybe a little bit the other way around, do you feel like it answered any questions, or does it, kind of?
I feel like
the right one.
I feel like all questions were answered as soon as we started. I really think even before we got to Daytona, I knew it was the right call, and I knew we did the right thing. And I mean, right off the bat, we had speed in our cars. So no, I haven't second guessed since I signed that contract.
Bob, also, Joey was kind of in no man's land there, really. Gibbs wanted to keep him. And I got to thank JD and Joe, because I said, they asked me to wait a couple of weeks, which we did. But, we knew we wanted him. And I think his dad played a big part of this, too. Tom has been a great friend. And, fathers of race drivers, there's all sorts of stories. But he's been a great supporter of ours, stood by us when we were having some trouble. And, it's been a great team effort. And I take my hat off to his dad. He's got a great son, and his mom, obviously.
We'll take a couple more questions from the media center before we go upstairs. Go ahead.
George Poli, the Macomb Daily. For any of you gentlemen, when the series came here in June, a lot of our storylines leading up to that race were what's wrong with Ford, is Ford missing something, et cetera. And Greg won here in June, different team, but of course Joey wins today. What changed? Was the gap closed? What's happening now?
Jamie, Raj, you guys want to take that?
Yeah, that's fine. As Joey just alluded to, if you look through the first part of the season, the first 5 or 6 races, you could look at them. The final restart of every race in the first 5 races, a Ford was on the front row in the final restart. So you can't be on the front row of the final restart of the first 5 races without having speed in your car. So clearly the team had speed. And the season is long, and there's all types of circumstances that creates, lack of performance or shortfall to performance. The Gen 6 car, certainly we've had to do a little bit more diligent preparation and diligent analytical work on understanding how to race in that type of a vehicle. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we at Ford Motor Company felt and had faith in the fact that in elements that we support our teams with, which is principally around the engines and around the design of the body, and as well all the other elements around race strategy, that those pieces were being used by our teams to complement and add their value add to prepare their cars and show up at the racetrack, qualify and race and make great calls. So a long way of saying to you is that although the performance hasn't been there, I should say the results have not been there, and there have been circumstances where we've not had the opportunity to show the capability of the program, we felt that we had a lineup of great teams, great drivers, and the ability to perform. And we feel that if you look at the last few races, we see there's a little bit more momentum returning to the Ford camp across all of our teams. You see what's going on with RPM, obviously circumstantially with at Watkins Glen, how strong the performance there was. Look at Roush over the last few weeks, and as well as Penske. So we feel the Ford camp is strong and is gaining momentum, and how opportune it is to actually gaining momentum at the right time of the season. The last couple of seasons, 4 drivers have led the regular season in points, but then come the chase, did not have the results that we expect. So this time around, maybe we won't be leading the chase. We won't be leading the points coming into the chase, and hopefully we'll end up with different results. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Roger.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that is, I've read in the paper about that the Ford teams are not working together. And I think it took probably, half the season before, we really, got open communication the way we needed it with Roush on both sides. Today, Joey can look at the traces on the Roush cars and vice versa, qualifying race setups. There's good cross-pollination to me and transparency, which I think is also paying good benefits to us. And also, we had to understand the engine program and some of the things, but I think overall it's strong, and obviously Roush brings a lot to the table. And what we're trying to do is be 50-50 here. And we had some tough breaks. We obviously, dinged our drivers with 25 and 30 points, because of the axle situation back, I think it was at Texas. So, overall, I'm glad to get the momentum now. And I think that, that's where you start to have it, because we started that last year, obviously. As we started to get to the chase, we got better. And I think that, the team's coming together, and we'll see if we can't, be in the chase with both cars. But, it's still a real wild card right now, how close the points are.
Okay, we'll take two more questions from Mike, then Dustin, then go up to the press box.
Joey, Mike Brudenell from the Detroit Free Press. You were chasing another one of your heroes, Mark Martin, toward the end of the race. Do you think you could have caught him if he hadn't run out of fuel? And one for Roger, who's easier to handle, Joey or Brad?
I can't wait to hear that answer. But no, I mean, it's kind of ironic because, in Pocono last year, racing for a win, I was racing against Mark Martin, my childhood hero, and who I can honestly say I wouldn't be sitting here today without him. I wouldn't ever want to race against someone else, So it was a lot of fun to race against him. Could I have passed him? I don't know. I was able to catch him a little bit, but the way these cars are, as you get closer to him, your car's going to start handling worse. And I was trying to get clean air on my nose, and I really felt like he was going to run out of gas when Todd told me he was 2 to 3 laps short. And originally, I believe they were 7 laps short when they came out of the pits. When the 55 came out of the pits. So I knew that in the back of my head. So I really thought I was racing the 29 car the whole time. I'm doing whatever I got to do to make sure the 29 stays behind me, make sure I keep momentum up. Because, if I was able to get to the 55 and try to pass him and didn't successfully pass him, that would have gave the 29 a huge run. He probably would have passed me, and then the 55 would have ran out of gas, and I wouldn't be sitting here. So just had to play that smart, had to kind of, look, 7 or 10 laps ahead and try to play that smart as I could.
Well, I guess, the two guys are working close together. I get a race report from Joey, very specific, and I get a list from Brad of what we need to do with the cars. So I put those two together, and I guess it's working.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Dustin.
Dustin Long, Motor Racing Network. 2 questions, one for Joey and one for Roger. Joey, you talked about needing to get ahead of the 29. Can you talk about that restart, that last restart? Because it really looked like you made a pretty big move at the bottom, and unless you maybe let up a little bit, that could have been something big. Can you talk about the aggression and the forcefulness of what that move looked like, at least from the outside? And Roger, if you can talk about, certainly Brad's 8th in the points right now, but without that win, he's kind of still in a tight situation. How you feel like that team is and where they are the next few weeks. Thank you.
To answer your first question, basically when it's go time, and that's when everyone's going to pick it up a notch, and including myself, I need to pick it up a notch. And the 55, he spun his tires a little bit on the restart, which made the 29 have to check up because he can't beat him to the line. That's tough. That's a tough situation as the inside car. Because he had to check up, which gave me the run because he had to check up. And I timed it just perfectly that when I got to his back bumper, it was right at the start-finish line so I can pull out of line and really try to almost surprise him, get down there that quick that he can't block me in time, get down on the apron, side draft, and pull him back, and then make sure you can come back up off of 2, which I didn't successfully do that. I almost had it, but the 78 got by me. And then I was able to pass the 78, try to run down to 55 from there. So just had to be aggressive. That's what you got to do to win these things. Everyone wants to win them really bad, and you just got to show them that you want it more than them.
Was that a big move?
It's a race-winning move, I think. If I didn't do...
How big of a aggressive move was it? We've seen aggressive moves. Was that out of the ordinary?
I didn't feel like we were going to wreck by doing it. It wasn't like I don't feel like I put anyone in a bad spot that we're going to wreck. Yes, it was aggressive. Yes, but it's game time. I'm here to win, so I'm going to do what I got to do.
Yeah, as far as the 2 team, obviously they've had some very good runs. Probably the Sonoma thing hurt them a lot. We had a poor run there, but Brad's been running up, almost won last week. We're I think 8th in the points, but it's going to be finishing in the top 10. For both these guys here the next 3 races if they're going to get in the chase. So, I'd have to say we're on the bubble with both guys, but I feel good about the momentum. certainly the cars, and what we got to do is execute. But there's a lot of drivers here now that are going to be vying, for the 2 wild card spots, and obviously to be in the top 10.
Okay, we'll take a couple of questions from the press box.
One question for either Roger Penske or Jamie Allison, whoever want to answer. Wolfgang Monzer from Germany, Rendsburg Press Agency. Roger and Jamie, from the beginning of the weekend, both in qualifying and race, Joey had the dominant car in qualifying and also in race, and had the upper hand over the opposition, especially for the chase races. Are you planning to do more development for the Gen 6 car? And if so, which are areas which you can still improve? Aero package, engine, electronics, suspension?
Well, I think that everybody brings their best game to the chase. There's no question we're working on aero. Doug Yates and Ford are working, on more power. This is every week, we're trying something new, and I think that, we need to get the reliability, which is going to be key. If you look at the drivers that are up in the points, they've had the reliability, so we need to keep that. But, we're going to try to make our car. I mentioned the list that Brad gives us. Every week we've got 7 or 8 things that we try to do. That's one of the benefits, I'd have to say, by having a 2-car team. We can make changes so much faster on both cars than if you have 3 or 4 cars. So I think that's an advantage we'll have as we get in the chase. If we catch on something that's we think is meaningful, and it's a speed opportunity for us.
Just echoing what Roger's saying, this is big time racing. So every team is working on preparation and upgrade specification to prepare for the chase. So obviously on the Ford side, with the Roush Yates engines, continuous every day, ever going development on making sure that we have the right specification for the right tracks into the chase. And obviously aero. I mean, we know these Gen 6 cars are highly sensitive to aero. So a lot of work through our CFD analysis to make sure that we understand how these cars behave, obviously by themselves and in race. And then also racecraft, race strategy. There's a whole host of things that one prepares for to enter the playoff version of the season. So the short answer is absolutely. We're prepared for the chase.
One of the things that I think is going to be important as we go into the chase is that NASCAR takes a look at the cars that have been submitted and just see how far, as they've made rule changes over the last, 20-some races, I guess it is, how close are these cars? Because, it's hard to tell. Once you've had a car for 3 or 4 years, you have a pretty good idea where we are. So I think there's lots of discussion by teams and manufacturers about, where are we? And just as they take our engines and cars to the tech center, I think that a good aerodynamic look will make a big difference as you go into the chase. So we got a level playing field, so that's going to be important.
Do we have another question from the press box?
Yes, Rachel Lindsay from the Toledo Blade. This question's for Joey. You touched on a little bit earlier about your relationship with Mark Martin growing up. How would you describe your current relationship with him, and did you speak to him at all after the race?
I have not got to see him after the race. It's kind of a whirlwind on how these things go after you win all the interviews you got to do and all the stuff you got to do. So I haven't not got to talk to him yet, but obviously he's been a huge help in my career, like I said earlier, and it's fun to be out there racing against him still. He's such a great guy, and a wealth of knowledge, obviously, from doing this for so long and being in this sport for so long. You can gain a lot of experience and learn a lot of things from him. So he's a cool guy to have on your side and to be out there running door to door with.
Also, one more question for Joey. You had a few top 10 finishes coming into this race, but before you got some consistency going, how would you really describe your season in its first 19 races?
A roller coaster, to say the least. We've been very strong. Even the beginning part of the season, we had some issues. Was able to work through that and found our consistency and able to work our way back through the standings and got our way all the way up to 10th in points a few races ago. Then we had 2 straight 40th place finishes with a couple tire issues that we've had in Daytona and Loudon. And from there, it's okay. Keep your head down and keep digging. And we've had 4 straight top 10 since then, including a win today. So we just got to keep that momentum going. This goes to show as long as nothing goes wrong, knock on wood, we've been pretty good. We've had some good speed in our cars and been in the top 10, so we just got to keep that momentum and keep that consistency for the next 3 races.
Okay, we'll come back down to the media center for final questions. Take one in the back from Stan.
Yeah, Roger, this question is for you, and I remember asking it to you at the beginning of this year concerning Brad Keselowski. If you had to compare Joey Logano to another of the great drivers that you've had throughout your entire career, who would that driver be and why? And then I also had a question for Jamie.
Well, you know, it's so difficult. We've had so many great drivers. I think I answered the question the same way before. You know, I really focus on the drivers we have today. You know, they earned the right to race for our team, represent our company and our employees. And, you know, Joey fits the mold. You know, he reminds a little bit of Rick Mears. You know, he understated, stands on the gas, and I could just see him maturing as he come to our team. Obviously, he had a great opportunity with Gibbs, gave him early on. I watched him. He beat the hell out of us, you know, in the nationwide so many races. So we knew he knew how to win. And I think giving him a chance to come with us, and he's just matured, and he's exactly what we expected. But as you saw today, as someone said, he's not afraid to stand on the gas when it counts.
Okay, and Jamie, if you will, if Ford's name is the first to be placed on the Michigan heritage, what does that mean to Ford, and what will you do to let the public know that this has occurred?
Well, certainly we think it's a great idea to have this trophy now. So we're going to let the public know that we're the inaugural winners, and you know, we haven't quite decided how we're going to make use of that, but I think it's a tremendous opportunity to, you know, reinvigorate the competition between the manufacturers as well. We take a lot of pride in where we place as manufacturers, and we're really proud, like we said, to have this home win and keep this trophy until next June. So it'll be really important that you win that August race so you can keep the trophy longer.
Okay, we'll go ahead, Jamie.
No, I have nothing to add.
All right, we'll take another question in the back, then come back up to front, take the final 2 from Bob and Lee.
Yeah, Joey, Mike Griffith from MLive.com. Earlier, you were asked about some of the adversity you faced this season and being in that quote-unquote bad guy role. You joked about it a little bit. Did it bother you, and did you seek out any advice from any drivers to get through that tough stretch?
Yes and no. You know, obviously, you know, when you go on Twitter and you read that everyone hates you, that doesn't make you too excited to read something like that. But, you know, I know who I am, and I know, you know, I did the right thing, and I'm confident in myself. And, you know, there's no regrets for any of that, and I can't control what everybody thinks about me. But I know the people that really know me know how I am, and you can put that stuff behind you. So I just raced like I always have. Didn't change a thing. And that's what's got me here, and that's what's going to keep me here and keep me winning races. So, no, I really try not to let it bother me at all. And like I said, sometimes it's easier than other times, but for the most part, I had a really good support group around me to get me through stuff like that. And obviously, having a great team and running well answers everybody.
Go ahead with your question, Bob.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Roger, both your guys are on the bubble to make the chase. Can you kind of explain where making the chase ranks as far as whether it's a successful season or not, and what type of advice are you giving your guys over the next 3 weeks?
Well, I'd have to say that we're all here to make the chase. And, you know, when you win the championship, and we've had cars in the chase, you know, continuously almost since the beginning, it'd be a disappointment if we didn't. You know, I understand that, you know, we put ourselves behind in Texas. But, you know, I think the success that we've had, we've been competitive. We've forged a new relationship, you know, with Ford Motor Company, which will be a long-term relationship. I think Joey has forged a relationship with Shell Pennzoil. So at the end of the day, you know, I got to look at the glasses really half full, and to me that's important. So I'll let I guess we'll look at the scoreboard, you know, in 3 more races and find out, you know, whether it's been a success or not. But you know, I'm going to tell our guys do what they've been doing, work smart, and bring their car home. Same thing I told Harnish as he sits there where he is now in the nationwide. He's got to. He's got to win now, and believe me, he's got to finish. That's what we got to do here in the next 3 races.
Can Can I just add?
Absolutely.
I know this is Cup, but I would be remiss if I don't just have a little mention about what's going on nationwide. Obviously, it's top-level teams competing for championships. And somebody asked earlier, came in last MIS, what's wrong with the Fords? Didn't talk about what's going on in nationwide, which is equally important. NASCAR is made up of all these series, and in one of the series, the Fords are absolutely stellars, won 10 out of the 20 races. Team owners, points, drivers, manufacturers. So it just shows the potential, the capability of this combined strength of this team sitting right here. So the ability is there, the capability is there. It's the same people who work on these cars, and then we'll prepare it for a brighter future in Cup. Thanks.
All right, we'll take our final question from Lee. Go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Travis Geisler at New Hampshire, he said that pretty much whoever came out on top after New Hampshire, they'd kind of put the effort behind them, and Joey had a really bad finish. Now that they're both there, you guys are concentrating on that. You, I guess, reboot your efforts. But giving these last three races, I guess this is more for Todd than anybody. What do you do? How, what is your strategy going in to those final three to keep him in fighting, fighting form?
Start out with a test tomorrow. We're at Richmond tomorrow, so we'll just go about. We came out with a kind of aggressive testing program leading up into the chase. When we identified that we were, going to be in the bubble position with both race teams, we've kind of. I don't feel there's been a separation of effort. I feel, Roger talked about it before, but we race as one team with two cars. I get everything Paul does, and Paul gets everything I do. So. The effort's been completely behind both of us, but we'll continue to focus on closing up the 17 points we need to 10th, and that starts tomorrow with a test at Richmond, and then on to Bristol, which if you look at the races coming up, we ran really well at Bristol in the spring before an altercation, and we ran well at Richmond, but we saw that as an opportunity to take running well to how do we make victories again. So. We'll just continue to forge forward, and it's both teams together.
Joey, congratulations again to you, Todd, Roger, and the entire Penske organization. Jamie, Raj, congratulations to Ford on the Manufacturers Trophy.
Thanks. I just want to say one thing. Shell's got an awesome promotion I forgot to tell you guys about. Hopefully you guys all have a Shell Savers card, which I expect you all do. But if you do, on Wednesday, you can save 22 cents a gallon. So if you don't have one, get one, and you can save some money.
Well played, Joey. Well played.
Thank you, guys.
Doing all right, he's got it.
I'm just trying to help you. That's all.
Appreciate your time today. Congratulations again.